Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the September 17th, 2025 Board of Commissioners meeting. We're going to start off as we always do with the Pledge of Allegiance, and Commissioner Rappaport's going to do the honors. Okay, thank you, Commissioner Rappaport. Item number 2 on the agenda, the roll call for this evening. Manager Elliott, will you please do the roll?
Yes, good evening. Commissioner Arman,
Here.
Commissioner Brockington,
Here.
Commissioner Cherico,
Here.
Commissioner Lewis,
Here.
Commissioner Norris,
Here.
Commissioner Rappaport, here, and Commissioner Zieggenfeld. Okay, we have 6 members here.
Thank you, Manager Elliott. And Commissioner Zieggenfeld's not here this evening. He had a tragic loss in his family, and he should know that we're all thinking of him here up at the board and throughout the township. On to item number 3, the Sunshine Act announcement. Mr. Diazio, please.
Thank you. Good evening. The board has met a few times in executive session since last month's public meeting. The board met on September 3rd to discuss eminent domain litigation. September 10th to discuss a matter of collective bargaining with the Salaried Association. On September 8th, sorry for going out of order there. On September 8th, interviews were held for the assistant township manager position. And then there was an executive session this evening, the 17th of September, regarding matters of personnel. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Diazio. On to item number 4, public comment on agenda items. As many of you know, this is the time for anyone here in the hall or on Zoom to provide public comment on an agenda item. There will be additional opportunity to provide public comment during Citizens Forum or during some of the items that we will be voting on tonight. But if anyone wants to speak to a particular agenda item, we do this up front to give everybody a chance so they don't have to necessarily wait for the entire meeting to get their chance to speak. So we'll start here in the hall. If there's anyone here in the hall that would like to be recognized to talk about something on the agenda, please come up to the podium and be recognized. Okay. I see no one volunteering at this point. Again, there'll be other opportunities during the course and at the end of the meeting. I'm going to move to Zoom, and I see Mr. Plout has a comment for on an agenda item. So, Mr. Plout, you're first, and then we'll go to Mr. Raish. Jeff, we can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Now we can. Thank you.
All right. Well, I just want to thank the commissioners as well as the township team for encouraging the EAC to move forward with alacrity, and then they did as well relative to the revision of the plastic bag ordinance to encourage a safer community for us with the limitation on plastic utensils and styrofoam food containers. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Plow, and thank you for your efforts as well as the Environmental Advisory Committee's work on that ordinance, which will come under agenda item 8A. Mr. Raish, please.
Hey, good evening, everyone. John Raish of Wincote here. I just want to acknowledge, let's see here, item 7 in the agenda. Sorry, not 7, F. Let's see, H. Item H, approval of the funding for design and engineering of the bridge over Tookany Creek Parkway. I just want to also note that that bridge is in alignment with our trail system, and want to get ahead of that and just for the public record note that I think the community would be extremely interested in the inclusion of a side path of some kind in that design, and that to also note, we have Cheltenham Township has a segment in the top 10 list of all trails that the Circuit Trails Coalition has prioritized. So if there are any concerns around potentially extending funding in the future, anything like that, I'm sure we could build a coalition to include a side path to make it safe for us to use that future crossing at New Second Street and then over the creek and the new bridge. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Raish, and I appreciate all your advocacy and efforts in that on that topic, but and also just to let you know that a side path, I don't know exactly if that's the right terminology, is part of the consideration for that design. So stay tuned on that and continue to advocate. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. All right, we're going to close item number 4, public comment on agenda items, and we'll move on to our regular business. Item number 5, approval of the Board of Commissioners regular meeting minutes dated August 20th, 2025. Are there any comments or questions from the board? All right, seeing none, I'll move for approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item number 6, acceptance of the executive summary financial report for the month of July 2025. Comments or questions there? No. All right. I'll move for acceptance. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item number 7, with which Mr. Raish was very fond of before he changed his mind. Acceptance of the accounts paid report for the month of July 2025. Comments or questions there? All right. Seeing none, I'll move for acceptance. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 8, the Public Works Committee met on September 3rd. It was chaired by Vice Chair Commissioner Lewis, and Commissioner Lewis is going to report out this evening. So Commissioner Lewis, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public Works had a full agenda on September 3rd. As you can see here, despite the full agenda, we had an efficient, effective meeting, and Joe Stuckert spent a lot of money. But it was good money, and you'll hear more about it as I go through these items. So 8A, I moved for the adoption of an ordinance amending the code of Cheltenham Township, Part 2, General Legislation to expand Chapter 162, single-use plastic bags, to include regulations on the distribution of single-use plastic utensils, single-use plastic straws, and expanded polystyrene products. Thank you, Commissioner Nars. Comments, questions from the board? Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say again, give thanks to all the residents throughout the township who spearheaded this effort. This is sort of phase 2 of the single-use plastics restriction. Phase 1 was plastic bags, and you can practically see the results throughout the township. We don't have as many plastic bags in our waterways, on our street sides. It's a really great. Thank you. We don't always get clapping, so it's much appreciated.
I'm surprised.
So yeah, no, it was a great effort, and this is phase 2 of that, which expands the restriction to single-use plastic utensils, single-use plastic straws, and the polystyrene products, which are really the containers. We also not only have to thank the folks who spearheaded it, but our businesses who are impacted by this, but have taken on the responsibility of being good neighbors and good environmental stewards. So I just want to thank everybody who's involved and everybody who's impacted. And I think it's going to have a huge positive impact for our community. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Township Manager Elliott, can you give us ordinance number for 8A, please?
Yes, that would be ordinance number 2501-25. And the roll call is Commissioner Arman,
Aye.
Commissioner Brockington,
Aye.
Commissioner Cherico,
Aye.
Commissioner Lewis,
Aye.
Commissioner Norris,
Aye.
and Commissioner Rappaport. Aye with thanks. And it is unanimous.
Thank you. 8B, I move for authorization for the Tookany and Tookany Frankfurt Watershed Partnership to perform fragmite removal work at Robinson Park. Any comments, questions? Commissioner Cherico.
I'm raising my hand on Zoom. I'm forgetting where I am. Thank you very much, Commissioner. I just want to point out how grateful I am for the folks involved in the Tookany Frankfurt Watershed Partnership who are taking on this work with us. This is an excellent partnership, and I'm so glad that we have brought them in to do this. And of course, the Friends of Robinson Park for all their work and their diligence on this. I'm very excited to see the beginning of this work and helping to restore Robinson Park to its beauty.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments, questions? Okay, we'll accept that. We'll take it. We will take that as well. Mr. President, I move for a vote.
We have a motion on the floor for authorization for the Tookany Frankfurt Watershed Partnership to perform fragmite removal work at Robinson Park. Any comments or questions on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Thank you. 8C. Okay. I move for the approval of a concept plan for a crosswalk to be placed at Chelten Hills Drive and Whitewood Road and move forward with the final drawings and placing the project out for bid. Commissioners, comments, questions? Commissioner Cherico.
This is also in my ward, so thank you very much. I just want to thank the board for their support in putting this crosswalk, in voting to put this crosswalk there at Chelten Hills Drive in Whitewood. That's a busy road. Everybody knows it. And fortunately, this will hopefully make it a little bit safer for school children to walk across the street to their bus stops. But we also need the support of all our motorists to slow down. It's 25 miles an hour on that road. So thank you very much.
There?
Thank you. Commissioner Brockington.
Yes, and I want to follow up with my fellow commissioner, let him know that now that we have this done, we're going to try to push forward to get the speed cushions on Chelten Hills.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Any other comments, questions? If not, I move for approval, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Lewis. We have a motion for awarding the contract, approval of the concept plan for the crosswalk, Chelten Hills Drive and Whitewood Road. Any additional comments or questions? Seeing none, all those, there's some criticism back there. Any comments or questions? I'm sorry. I heard comments or questions and some barking. Are there any other comments and questions? No. All right. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. 8D, award of a contract to Hirschberg Mechanical in the amount of $37,950 to install 2 new heaters in the traffic signal and impound garage at Public Works. Any questions or comments, commissioners? All right, I'll move for a motion, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Lewis. There was some extensive conversation about this and the need for it. We are increasing our staff in that regard, and there's going to be people in that facility that require heat in the wintertime. So it's an advisable expenditure. So any other comments or questions on Commissioner Lewis's motion? Seeing none, all those in favor of awarding the contract to Hirschberg Mechanical in the amount of $37,950 say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. 8E, I move to award a contract to Set Right Corporation in the amount of $19,900 to replace 1 garage door, install a new garage door open for the Public Works traffic signal garage. Commissioners, any questions, comments? Seeing none, I move for a motion, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Lewis. We want to make sure we shut the door, not let the heat out, right? Thank you. All those in favor of awarding the contract to Set Right Corporation in the amount of $19,900, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. 8F, I move for the approval of contract amendment number 5 for NV5 in the amount of $15,060 to provide construction inspection and engineering services for the Tookany Creek Trail Phase 3 project. And I move for a motion, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Lewis. We had some updates during the committee meeting. There was some conversation about this. Any other comments or questions on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the contract amendment number 5 for NV5 in the amount of $15,060, say aye.
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 8G, I move for the approval of contract supplement number 1 for Bowman in the amount of $13,900 for additional design and permitting work required for the Laurel Avenue Bridge project. Commissioners, any questions, comments? Seeing none, I move for a motion, Mr. President.
All those in favor of approving the contract supplement number 1 for Bowman in the amount of $13,900, say aye.
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 Eight H, approval of a contract with Bowman in the amount of $518,300 for design and engineering to replace the Tookany Creek Parkway Bridge over Tookany Creek adjacent to Carter Lane, subject to review by the township solicitor.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to thank Commissioner Arman for raising some of my concerns about the exclusions last week or week before and also forwarding it on to a solicitor. So thank you all for the work that was put in. One remaining question. I think in the minutes it talked about, or somewhere, it talked about the sidewalk on one side, on the south side. And I'm not sure, I haven't walked over there recently, so I don't remember if there's a sidewalk on both sides. So the question is, will there only be a sidewalk on the one side? And is that adequate?
I'll have Mr.
yeah.
Stucker come forward and answer that. Thank you, Mr. Stucker.
Commissioner, to answer your question, we're looking to extend the trail on the one side, and we're going to add a sidewalk to the south side of that street. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Stucker. And I move for a motion. Mr. President, please.
Thank you, Commissioner Lewis. All those in favor of approval of a contract with Bowman in the amount of $518,300
Yeah.
for design and engineering to replace the Tookany Creek Parkway Bridge over Tookany Creek adjacent to Carter Lane. And I've confirmed that our solicitor has reviewed the agreement. So all those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. 8I, I move for the approval of a resolution authorizing the submission of a grant under the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development's Main Street Matters Program in the amount of $100,000 to install bollards and benches in downtown Glenside to facilitate safety community events. I have one question. How did we go from 37.5 to 100,000?
Yes, I can jump in for that. Yes, so we were contacted by DCED in the process of reviewing our grant application. They expressed concerns about, excuse me, cost increases. And we went out and searched for some other sources, especially with some of the products that were coming out of the country with tariffs and things like that. So going with a domestic product, it did increase the price. They also suggested increasing it in general. So when is an agency offering you more money? So we will take that. I don't
Absolutely.
know if the full project will be $100,000, but we will ask for more and try to get as much work done in the streetscape design and solidifying it as possible.
I agree with that. Thank you. Any other questions, comments on 8I? Mr. President?
Commissioner Lewis, I'll move then for approval of a resolution authorizing submission of a grant. I appreciate aiming high. And if there's no other comments or questions, all those in favor of the motion to approve the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Commissioner Lewis, may I for 1 second?
Yes.
Thank you. As many of you may see from your agendas, item J involving the Ashland development has been it's been crossed off. That matter has been continued until October and will be before the Board of Commissioners meeting next month. I think it's the 22nd. Thank you, Commissioner Lewis.
Thank you. 8J. I move for the concurrence with the Montgomery County Consortium of Communities Award of a contract to Morton Salt, Inc. to provide rock salt for the 2025-26 winter season at a delivered price of $63.61 per ton and $63 per non-delivered ton. I think it's safe to say we would go with the delivered price here. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, I move for approval. Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Lewis. And just to clarify, I asked the question last time, but it was and now it seems obvious, but it didn't at the time. So I'll just clarify that the delivered price, which is 61 cents more per ton, means that it gets delivered by the contract, by the entity to the township. The $63 one is we got to go pick it up. So non-delivered. So yeah, exactly. So that is the difference in price. That's the explanation. The hope is that we get just the right amount of salt and no bad snowstorms, and everything else will be copacetic. So with that, we have a motion for concurrence with the Montgomery County Consortium of Communities award of the contract to Morton Salt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. That concludes the agenda items from the September 3rd Public Works meeting. With that said, I ask for approval of the recommendation of the Public Works Committee and acceptance of its regular meeting minutes dated September 3rd, 2025. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Lewis. Well done. Moving on to item number 9, the Building and Zoning Committee met on September 3rd of 2025. Also, we have a couple of items to bring before the board this evening. Item 9A, authorize advertisement of a public hearing to consider public comment on an ordinance amending Chapter 295 zoning, Article 15, MU3 mixed use districts to modify certain of the design and development standards for a Class 3 special exception in the MU3 mixed use district. This specifically deals with the development at the former Melrose Country Club, Mr. Diazio, do you want to just give a very brief overview, as you did at the committee meeting, just to put this in perspective for the public?
Sure, I'm happy to. So with this proposed ordinance amendment, there are a few comments that the county had when the board adopted this ordinance a number of months ago initially. Some of those comments had not made their way into the final document that the board did approve just because of the timing of the receipt of those comments. So some of the county's comments that the township thought were advisable to act on have been incorporated. And then as this project has just moved through the development process, there were just some other tweaks that became evident that township similarly considered advisable to act upon. So both of those items combined are reflected in the ordinance amendment that will be advertised. Thank you.
Okay, any comments or questions on the board? This is a vote to authorize advertisement of a public hearing, which would take place in November, correct, Mr. Diazio?
November, correct.
Okay. So I will move for to authorize advertisement. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all. Item 9B, authorize advertisement of a public hearing to consider public comment on an ordinance amending Chapter 295 zoning, Article 3, definitions, Article 8, MU1 mixed use districts, and Article 13, parking and loading to permit medical marijuana dispensaries in certain parts of the MU1 mixed use zoning district by special exception when certain criteria are met. This sounds probably scarier than it actually is, but I'm going to turn it over to our solicitor for a brief explanation.
Sure, thank you. So with this amendment to the ordinance code book, a number of years ago, the board did add provisions to the zoning code that would allow medical marijuana dispensaries in a very small area of the township, subject to certain conditions that would require relief from the zoning hearing board. At around the same time, a comprehensive zoning code was implemented by the board, and the medical marijuana dispensary language never made it into the comprehensive zoning code overhaul, which we have noticed, we've picked up on. And so the ordinance that the board is considering simply adds to the code the language that was already board approved a number of years ago. There were no changes. It's just finally incorporating officially what was there previously. Okay, so with minor revisions, otherwise it's the language that was previously board approved.
So this sort of correction fix is part of what the township and the planning and zoning department does on a regular basis, which is to continually review our code and make sure that there are no omissions, errors, and where there may be areas for improvement. And this is a product of that review. So with that, I will move for authorization of advertisement of the public hearing. If there are any questions or comments from the board, we'll take that now. All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all. So that concludes the business before the Board of Commissioners for the Building and Zoning Committee. So at that, I will move for approval of the minutes dated September 3rd, 2025 for Building and Zoning. Comments or questions? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item number 10, Public Safety Committee met on September 10th. Commissioner Brockington chairs that committee. Commissioner Brockington, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, and Public Safety did meet on September 10th, and tonight we have just two items to vote on. The first is authorize the addition of traffic calming measures to include 2 sets of speed cushions and applicable pavement markings and signage on the 8200 block of Fairview Road to the township's traffic calming program. Mr. President, I call for a vote.
Any comments or questions on Commissioner Brockington's motion to authorize the addition of the traffic calming measures? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. Moving on to 10B, authorize the addition of traffic calming measures to include 3 sets of speed cushions and pavement markings and signage at the 400 and -500 blocks of Waverly Road to the Township Traffic Calming Program. Mr. President, I call for a vote.
Thank you, Commissioner Brockington. Just a quick comment. All of these traffic calming measures come through a process through the Traffic Calming Committee, which is also chaired by Commissioner Brockington, and takes a lot of due diligence from various parties throughout the township, particularly our folks in the police department. So we thank Commissioner Brockington, the Traffic Calming Committee, and our police department for all the work that they put into this to address what has been a continuing concern of this board as well as the residents, which is to calm the speed of traffic in our community. So thanks to everybody.
Mr. President, can I add one other thanks? And
Please.
it's to our Public Works Department. I'm just holding a pen and talking into a microphone. Those are the folks that goes out there and actually will do the work and the labor to put these speed cushions in. So the boat coil and the guys at Public Works, I really want to thank you guys. They're the ones doing the heavy lifting.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Brockington. My mistake to leave them out.
No, I was not out there doing it. You don't want me to do anything like that.
We're going to make that a fundraiser coming up. If you want to see Commissioner Brockington shoveling asphalt, goodbye tickets.
Yes.
Well, thank you to everybody who's involved in this. There's a motion on the table to authorize the addition of traffic calming measures for the 400 to 500 blocks of Waverly Road. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Thank you. And then I just call for the approval of the minutes from that meeting, which was held on September 10th, 2025.
Any comments or questions? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
Item number 11, the Public Affairs Committee, and Commissioner Rappaport chaired that on September 10th. Commissioner Rappaport.
Thank you, Mr. President. The only thing we're going to ask you to vote on tonight from Public Affairs is the approval of the minutes for that meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'll take that as a motion. Yes.
Was my motion.
Fair enough. Thank you. Comments or questions on that? All right. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Commissioner Rappaport. Item number 12, the Finance Committee also met on September 10th. Commissioner Norris is the chair. Commissioner Norris.
Thank you, Mr. President. As stated, the Finance Committee met on September 10th, and there's only one item that requires our attention this evening, and that is 12A. I will move for approval of the 2026 minimum municipal obligation for the hourly, police, and salaried employees' pensions. This is the annual contribution that the township makes to those pension plans, and it was calculated by our advisors. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, I'll move for approval of that MMO for the pension plans. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. The only other item that needs a vote is approval of the Finance Committee meeting minutes for September 10th. So I'll move for their approval. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Norris. Moving right along, item number 13, old business. We don't have any agenda items for old business, but I have a couple of announcements, or actually I'm going to invite some folks up to talk about various things. But the first is the announcement that we are going to have a sort of a special meeting next month, October 15th, before public safety. So Public Safety Committee meeting starts at 7:30. So a special meeting will take place starting at 7 p.m. and it's going to be a meeting where our Director of Fiscal Affairs is going to provide a sort of state of the township's fiscal position. It'll be a good opportunity to hear about where we are in our budget process, look at our forecasting for the future in terms of our fiscal health and fiscal needs, And I think it'll be a good opportunity combined with what is going to be our budget meetings, which I believe are September 30th and October 7th and 26th. So September 30th, October 7th, and October 26th are the budget meetings, but this October 15th meeting will be a special meeting for our Director of Fiscal Affairs to provide an overview of the township's finances. So that's just an announcement. Please, it'll be available via Zoom, so you can zoom in and see that presentation. The next item for old business, something on that, or okay. The next item for old business is we're going to have Mr. Stuckert come up to give us an update, two updates actually, one on the Tookany Trail and one on the Church Road intersection, which is right outside our windows here. So, Mr. Stuckert.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Thank you.
So two updates for you that I believe were brought up in the past month at a couple of meetings. One is for the Tookany Trail project, where we're at with that. We did have a meeting out there this week. Myself, several people from Public Works, Enbridge, who's the pipeline that runs through that area, as well as the contractor. The contractor plans on moving equipment in probably next week, towards the end of next week. And they're going to start the work at Gimbal field end of that project and then work through. The expectation is that they're expecting to be done in the trail portion of that in December. Weather's going to be depending for their paving, which they're projecting to be in November. So, and then we're trying to set up a meeting with PennDOT to do the pole spot locations, which is a requirement before the contractor can start the signal works. But, and then they can start that. But again, everything's going to be dependent on when we can get the poles. They're a 6-month lead time. They have been pre-ordered, but we haven't gotten a date from the factory on that. So that's the update for that.
Mr. Stuckert, before you go on to the next one, any questions from anyone on that update? No, thank you for that. That's very helpful. Obviously that's a big project that a lot of folks are interested in. So we appreciate that update.
The second update, I believe, was brought up also this past month, is in regards to the project happening on Church Road and a time frame. I believe there was questions as to why there's intermittent detours right now. That was approved by PennDOT for all the utility work. It was not made a 24-hour detour. That was a Monday through Friday, 9 to 3, as well as they had Saturday hours. I think it was 8 to 4 that they could work, where they'd be able to close sections of road as needed to do work in the roadway. Again, that was to lessen the inconvenience rather than having it a 24-hour at that point, because they're not always there. It's a lot of confusion. However, PennDOT, and we discussed that, felt that was best than trying to close it that early. As far as the full closure, which goes into effect, the full closure in stage 1 will be to allow traffic to travel eastbound on Church Road and northbound on Greenwood Avenue. That detour, from what I was told, will go into effect 2 weeks after the digital signboards go out at the intersection. There'll be 2 digital signboards that go out at the intersection explaining the dates. And I don't know what else is going on with the digital message board. That's PennDOT's, whatever they're putting on there. If they're directing them to their site, I'm not 100% sure. Most likely it's going to say that this roadway may, will be closed in a detour starting whatever. That detour will go into effect 2 weeks after those signboards are placed, and they're expecting those signboards to be placed within the next 1 to 2 weeks. That's the expectation as of right now. And then again, that will go into effect. And then again, about halfway through, that detour will shift and it'll go to the opposite direction. So then traffic would be allowed to travel westbound on Church Road and southbound on Greenwood Avenue. So again, that's not going to occur until probably late in 27 when they make that switch. But that's to allow them to work on one half of the street, get that half, pretty much done, and then switch over and be able to work on the other half of the street.
Go ahead.
Do you have an idea as to whether the Pico work that's being done on Glenside Ave, Chelten Hills, will that be done
It unfortunately will not. I spoke to the contractor today. They've run into a lot of rock, which was fully expected. They have approximately 600 feet more to dig. They're expecting to be there approximately 4 more weeks, or if not, 4 to 5 weeks. They're hoping to be done there, again, depending on how bad it is with the rock, by the end of October.
So that's going to create could create quite a mess if people are being directed or using Glenside Avenue or Chelten Hills, I guess, to get around, right? If Church Road and Greenwood is shut down.
Yeah, so the official detour is actually Township Line Road to Washington Lane to Cheltenham Avenue, then down. We know people, just like any detour that's ever put in place, people will find their own way. I will be, hopefully, I'm sending an email. I met with, like I said, the contractor, the supervisor today. We had a discussion. I'll be sending him an email for a follow-up. My goal is to meet with them prior to the action, hopefully the day of or slightly prior to the detour going into effect, on some things that I think need to be taken care of at this intersection when they do that change, in order to allow traffic to, progress through there a little better, as well as we're not going to look at the rest of the intersections for probably a week and a half to 2 weeks. Only reason is, again, it takes people some time to realize that, there's a detour. It's going to be very inconvenient to go this way, for them to find other ways. If we make changes to all the other intersections the same day, that will likely create more problems. So we usually give it a week or two before we will monitor it, but before making any drastic changes, we give it a week or two, and then we will go out and reassess what needs to be changed as far as timings at other intersections. But yes, if people so choose that they may want to take Chelten Hills, my guess is they will figure out pretty quickly that that may not be the route that they want to take as a detour outside of the official detour.
Yeah, I mean, but for those of us who live in the community, we're not going to go all the way up Township Line Road and work our way around to wherever we need to go.
Understood.
So is there a chance that, if you say they need another 4 or 5 weeks, and PennDOT's not dropping the sign for another 1 to 2 weeks, can we ask PennDOT to drop it 3 weeks from now so that it begins 5 weeks from now?
I think you could ask. However, these dates have kind of been planned for quite a while, along with the utilities and all the contractors that are involved. They have been doing some preliminary work, to make these detours happen. So, I mean, it could be asked, but my guess at this point is that date is not going to get changed. Again, I think the detour is already going into effect later than everybody hoped it would. And I don't think they want to delay the project any further.
Let's just hope PennDOT is its typical self and is delayed.
Thank you. Question for Mr. Stuckert? Yeah.
Yeah, and it might not be for you. It might be more for the police. I'm not sure. But the question arises when we're changing Greenwood Avenue to one way. What about the parking on both sides of the street in the commercial area down near Glenside? So I know that legally you're supposed to park in the direction of.
Correct. So my understanding is, and I don't have the detour plan in front of me. I know which direction it goes. I don't know, and the contractor is going to look at his plans. I do not believe at this time that the one way will start at that point. Okay, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know that it starts at that end, but either way, I can let the chief answer this, but I don't recommend that you park in the opposite direction if there's still any kind of two-way traffic in the area.
That's correct. Also, your concern being the businesses then there as well, I'm sure.
Sure. Absolutely. That was my
parking in there. We will look at that when you get, I believe you're correct in saying it's going to be the opposite end first. So we'll have some time to plan and prepare for that, but that's something we need to look at, especially with those businesses there.
Yeah, first of all, they're going to take a hit just because it's going to be hard to access them. Even though a lot of it is pedestrian business, it still relies on vehicular So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Rappaport. Anything else for Mr. Stucker? Oh, we have Fire Marshal Lynch. Who wants his turn?
Just to continue with the Church Road project, I have received emails from the commissioners, Manager Elliott, and reported concerns from the publics regarding the overgrown vegetation all along Church Road and Greenwood Avenue. I spoke to Representative from Myers, the contractor. I spoke to PennDOT people on site. It's in the PennDOT right away. PennDOT informed me it's on their list. So it looks awful, but figure this was as good as time as any to let everybody know. PennDOT's advised, and we'll work with that on getting that cleaned up.
Thank you, Mr. Lynch. And hopefully as part of their punch list, as they go through the project, we can make sure we're staying on top of that as well. Thank you. All right. Any other old business for tonight's meeting? I'm going to go to Commissioner Brockington and then Commissioner.
Okay, I just wanted to remind everyone that tomorrow our state representative, Napoleon Nelson, is having his senior fair at KI, and it's from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So I just wanted to remind everyone of that.
Thank you, Commissioner Brockington. Okay, Commissioner Rappaport has something for old business.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you to the board for indulging me on a statement, basically following up on a lot of the questions we've had about immigrants and policies on that. I'll just also preface it with saying that today is National Constitution Day. So I'll mention that. Over the past months, I've become increasingly concerned about what I see as increasingly egregious, dangerous, and growing federal overreach, even bigger and deeper and more pervasive, but including ICE. I believe that as a municipal body, we should focus on and clearly reject the erosion of our sacred constitutional and human rights. If we want let me keep up. If we want to protect the rights of people in our municipality, I'd like to see us stand up and speak out in favor of certain fundamental principles. One, honesty in the delivery of our nation's history. Two, supportive opportunities to help rectify the results of systemic, historic discrimination and persecution. Three, support protection of election rights, including supporting continuing voting by mail and fighting unnecessary restrictions that privilege only the wealthy and leisurely. Four, support electoral districts that are drawn by nonpartisan standards. Five, support greater protections for non-binary sexual reality and gender diversity, for scientific medical standards instead of religious ideological orthodoxy, for reproductive choice and medical privacy. Six, I got to get through this in 5 minutes, so let's. Six, honoring the nation's unique protections for separation of church and state. Seven, support aggressive steps to halt and try to redress the negative impacts of climate change. Eight, supporting the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission condemnation of profiling as a basis for immigration enforcement, and a lot more. And if this body wants to protect the rights of our municipality in the context of our county, state, and nation, I believe we need to oppose systematic disinformation, including one-sided fabricating, scapegoating, blaming, and delivering retribution against political opponents, all while pardoning lawbreakers in support of this administration's agenda. Two, oppose the federal use of military and paramilitary force imposed on our civilian populations, as well as on cities asking for different forms of federal cooperation and support. Also oppose faking national emergencies to strong arm and facilitate military-backed administrative policies. 3, oppose federal hijacking of public arts and institutions, including the Kennedy Center, Smithsonian, and national parks across the country as well as locally, and opposing the whitewashing of history. 4, oppose the martyring as heroes only of those victims of gun violence who preach divisive, hateful, sexist, and racist policies. 5, oppose academic and curricular censorship and also media censorship. 6, oppose the defunding of vital domestic programs in favor of public expenditures on birthday party military parades, rehabbing personal gifts from foreign countries, and the like, and more. So I urge this board to adopt in our forthcoming statements being developed for consideration this statement of public principles for the protection of the constitutional and human rights in this township, and to ensure that our policies continue to align with these priorities. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Rappaport, for those words. Is there any other old business for the township? Commissioner Lewis.
Yes, there's been a lot of talk recently about the Fight Blight initiative. I want to encourage everyone to get involved on October 4th for our first Cheltenham Township wide cleanup. You can go on the Cheltenham Township website and register. Please get involved. We all chose Cheltenham. Let's maintain Cheltenham. And this is just the first of many. And Fight Blight entails much more than trash. It's going to be addressing abandoned cars, abandoned buildings, vacant buildings, graffiti, and so much more. So please get involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lewis, and thank you for spearheading this initiative. And for those of you who are not aware, the October 14th is sort of the big kickoff day, but it continues. I'm sorry, I meant October 4th, if that's what I didn't say. I apologize. October 4th, but it continues throughout the year. And Commissioner Lewis, through his efforts and through other members of the board and community, there's a huge groundswell of support and activities going on. So find one in your local part of the township and please participate. Thank you, Commissioner Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. Any other old business? All right. Seeing none, we're going to close old business. We'll open up new business. There's no agenda items. Do we have any new business items from the board? All right. Going once, twice, seeing none, we'll close old business. Next item is Citizens Forum. I notice we have a lot of citizens in the audience. So if you are interested in speaking during Citizens Forum, we're going to start here in the hall. So come up to the podium. You could start a line. When you come up, state your name and the area of the township where you're from. Speak into the microphone so folks on Zoom can hear you, and you'll be limited to 3 minutes of public comment. So, sir, you're our first guest. Please have at it.
Thank you very much. My name is Ed Jones. I live on Cadwallader Avenue, a lovely avenue, I might say. And we've just moved in 15 months ago, and we're really happy to be here. Last month, a large group of us requested that you develop a welcome policy that would protect immigrants in Cheltenham Township. And I can't tell you, Commissioner Rappaport, how much easier it is to talk after hearing what you had to say. This month, we have provided for your consideration such a welcome policy. And in fact, we understand you already have a copy, which surprised us a bit, but glad you have it. And apparently have started working on that policy. I'd like to say a bit about the values implicit in this document. We want a policy that has the force of law, that defines the relationships between our police and ICE in legal terms. How the police department interacts should not be a matter of personal preference, but of ordinance. Last month, we were impressed by Chief Slavin, who spoke persuasively of his belief in strong limits to the police department's connection with ICE. But policy should not depend upon the integrity of one person. Rather, any future police chief should abide by ordinances that the township commissioners adopt. In addition, all police officers should recognize that there are legal consequences to any attempts to cooperate with ICE, except for actions that are federally mandated. Norristown and West Norton were among the first to experience ICE raids. Those raids were very disruptive and disturbing to both community members and local officials. However, as a result, they established welcoming policies. They realized that everyone in the community would feel safer if there were clear expectations of officials and police in the event of an ICE raid. Based on what we've heard about the work you have already been doing, it seems that you also aim to create a clear set of expectations. You are not waiting for a calamitous ICE attack on our residents. Rather, or so we believe, you are fashioning a policy before disaster strikes. Perhaps, too, you recognize that protecting our immigrant residents overrides concerns about potential federal dollars being withheld from local projects or concerns about ICE targeting our community, understandable as those concerns are. How will immigrants, or anyone for that matter, know that the commissioners stand behind a statement that isn't publicly available on the township's website? What we expect you will create is not some vague liberal document that welcomes the stranger in our midst. In reality, the strangers in our midst, friends and neighbors, really, who comprise roughly 15% of Cheltenham residents, they won't benefit from a document that provides mere expressions of support. No, they will benefit only from an ordinance that spells out exactly how Cheltenham personnel will behave if ICE comes on the scene. The boring language of the law will provide their warmest welcome.
So, Mr. Jones, thank you for those words. Thank you for, I understand that you circulated, you sent to Commissioner Brockington the statement, who circulated to the board. So we did have it in advance, which is very much appreciated. What I will say, as you indicated in your presentation, the board has heard from the community. As we've expressed through Chief Slavin and through statements from the board, in principle, we support the notion. But frankly, we have reservations in the sense of it's almost easier to just issue a statement, right? And then worry about consequences after that. So we certainly, I want to be very deliberate about the statement, the publicly facing statement policy that we make. Our chief, our township manager, other staff are working on that to make recommendations to the board. And I would expect that we'll see whether it's a policy, a statement, a set of principles that will come out next month in October. I know some of our neighbors have done some of these things, but we want to make sure we're being deliberate and not attracting negative attention to our township, but also expressing where our principles are. So thank you for that. And so I would suggest stay tuned. I think we'll have more for you in that front. That again, it's not going to be new because we've already reiterated where we stand, but it will be more publicly facing and explicit. So anyone who is intending to speak on that topic, we recognize the import. I'm not going to cut off any comments, but if you have new things to add, please do so. If you're expecting to sort of just reiterate what Mr. Jones said or ask us for a policy, the response is going to be the same. We are certainly working on it. So, sir, with that, you have 3 minutes. Please state your name, the area of the township where you live, and have at it.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is David Flax. I've been a resident of Cheltenham 3-4 in Melrose Park for over 30 years. My husband and I chose to move to Cheltenham mostly because of the progressive values of the community that have been consistently enacted over decades. We are a community that has not shied away from protecting the rights of all our residents. Shortly after moving to Melrose Park, my husband and I adopted 2 sons from Guatemala. My 30-year-old currently lives in Philadelphia, and my 27-year-old lives here with us. It's heartbreaking to see their anxiety about leaving the house to enter a society that is violently abducting people who look just like them. They are naturalized citizens of the United States, so I can only imagine the fear regularly experienced by our friends and neighbors within the immigrant community. While I am not so naive to believe that we can prevent unidentified masked ICE agents from entering our community, I am certain that we can make clear our intention as a community to not enable them. I urge you to adopt a welcoming policy that makes clear who we are as a community and how we will require every employee of this township, not just the police, to behave with regard to immigration issues, including collecting and sharing information and complying with ICE without a judicial warrant. Every resident of this community deserves to know that they are valued by the people who serve them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Flax. Sir, please.
My name is Dennis Fisher. I'm from Cheltenham Village. My parents moved me here when I was 5 years old, and I'm a product of Cheltenham Public Schools. I came here to talk about library funding, but when I saw this meeting, I couldn't imagine that there's any plan to cut the library funding in our township. Apparently there is. I just want to read this brief statement. Library funding cuts at this time will cost our township far more than they save. Because you, dear commissioners, have the authority to make those cuts, I came to warn you about the danger. Our township evolves like a living thing. Decreased funding for libraries will produce a lower quality of life for all of us. People who seldom use libraries still depend on them. Libraries are multifaceted, socially welcoming, safe spaces. Pleasant and helpful people are at the library every time. Defunding the library is going to send a strong message to all of our taxpayers. Our community centers have been almost completely dormant for 4.5 years. We have already endured a lowering in our community's quality of life. A cut to the library system at this time is perilous. We have a new expensive housing development. It's remarkable. We must be enjoying increased tax revenue, along with proposed cuts to a resource used by people of all ages. That's puzzling. I guess it's out of the question to ask for an increase in library funding tonight. Clawing back from a cut made right now will eventually prove necessary and will certainly cost a fortune. I pray our community will evolve along a different path. Thank you.
So thank you, Mr. Fisher. I'm sure there are a number of people here to talk about the rumors of library funding. Let me just make a statement. I'll start off with saying that this board supports and appreciates all the work that Cheltenham Township Library System does for the residents of Cheltenham. As a former member of the library board myself, I'm particularly sensitive to and appreciative of the library system's place in our community and the impact it has on every single one of us. I'll also state that despite rumors largely disseminated by the library system itself, no decisions have been made by the board on funding for the library, our departments, or any other entity that receives money from the township. Those meetings with the Board of Commissioners simply have not happened yet. They're coming on September 30th, October 7th, and October 29th. Now, with that stated, our staff has been working diligently, as they've been mandated to do by the board, to meet with our internal departments and our external partners in order to discuss our dire budget situation and to work to find cost savings and financial efficiencies to close our budget gap. Partnership in this regard is about communication, having difficult conversations, and scenario planning so that we can understand the impact of recommendations that the staff is going to make to the board. And ultimately, the board can understand the impact our decisions will have on the community. Partnership is not taking those preliminary conversations and weaponizing them to create a false narrative of us versus them. In fact, that type of reaction discourages partnership. The library system has many opportunities to seek out and advocate for funding. One is with the township. We provide the overwhelming bulk of the library system's funding. I think it's 1.8 or $1.9 million a year of taxpayer money. The library system could, instead of the campaign that it endeavored against the township in the last couple of weeks, could have campaigned to find money from private entities, from school board, from the Cheltenham Township School Board, which contributes zero to the Cheltenham Township Library System, zero. There are many sources of funding that the library system can endeavor, but to engage in a campaign against the township at this early stage is not only premature, but it undermines the partnership between the entities. So with that, I want to say I appreciate the advocacy of everybody in this room, as well as those who reached out to us personally. We hear loud and clear your priorities and your interests. Please continue to provide that feedback, because as we go through the budget process, we will need that to understand what path we want to take in terms of budgeting. And I'll also say, please consider donating to the causes that you find close to your heart within the township, whether that's the libraries, fire companies, et cetera. They need your support, and so do we. So thank you for that. And I just wanted to make sure I responded to the concerns, and we hear it loud and clear, and we'll take it all under consideration. Thank you. Ma'am, you're up.
Decker, I've lived here for 19 years, and Commissioner Rappaport, I did have a prepared statement, but after hearing what you said, I really feel a bit comforted. I understand that you want to be deliberate. I completely understand, and I wouldn't want you to be any other way, but I do want your statement or hopefully your something as rigorous as possible to have teeth and really speak to the fact that we want to do everything we can to not have ICE come into our community. And I do think that there's always going to be people, of course, that may cause trouble, but I think at the end of the day, I believe that you all will do what's right, and having that type of policy is doing what's right. I also just want to mention that I know there's some people on Zoom that would like to speak as well.
Yeah, thank you. After we finish with speakers here in the hall, we'll definitely not neglect the folks on Zoom.
I just wanted to speak on behalf of the.
Please state your name.
Oh, yeah. My name is Madeline McMahon. I've been a resident here for 22 years. And I, Jeff, I live over in the Lamont section. And I do not want a mealy-mouthed statement about immigrants' protection in our community. I want us to stand up and be strong and not worry about negative stuff because it's already negative. It is already very ugly and negative, and I'm not okay with being quiet about something that is so precious as someone's family. When it comes down to it, we're speaking for the township too, and this is not okay. We have to stay strong, and we have to say no. And we also have to protect ourselves from what could be legal action. If our cops are doing what these ICE people are doing, that's not okay. We'll get sued. We'll lose money. We don't have the money to lose. We don't have the money to lose. And we certainly don't have the people to become injured and not be able to work, not be able to pay taxes, not be able to feel safe in our street and our community. This isn't just happening to the immigrants. This is happening to us. I also do like the library, and I think that there's many people in the township who really use it, as do I. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hey, I've got a fan back there. Hi, my name is Alex. I live in Oaklands Park. And I was very impressed by the outpouring of community support that I've seen here. Commissioner Rappaport, that was incredibly eloquent and well said, and it's a very strong statement. That's what we need right now. I have to say, I came here from a community night at the library where I enjoyed meeting my neighbors. I enjoyed spending time with the people in my community. I bought a house here because I was so impressed by the people that I saw on the street and the programming at the local library and at the community level. There is no bubbling cauldron and people standing over it and saying, oh, the township is going to defund us. That is a false narrative. We were encouraged to show our support for things that matter. And I would hope that you would do the same.
Go ahead.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
My name is Tom Peterson. I'm a 33-year resident of Roland Park area on Landfair Road. I am also an immigrant, as was my father and my grandparents. I want to acknowledge we had a very productive meeting with Irv yesterday, and I appreciate the meeting and the time that Irv spent with us on this issue. So I want to urge you to pass the welcoming policy that we've provided for you. As other people have stated, we don't want a simple statement that does not have the force of law. We need a welcoming policy with the force of law behind it. I want to acknowledge your concerns about being a target, but the federal administration is intensely inconsistent and unpredictable about this issue. For example, when Montgomery County declared that they would not cooperate with ICE, the administration took them off of a hit list, didn't put them on, a defunding type of list. I also want to mention, Irv had indicated some interest in this as well. The Pennsylvania Immigration Coalition has over 60 member organizations. Many of them are in Montgomery County, and many of them are supportive of a legally binding welcoming policy. I can get you a full list as you know, if you're interested in that. But there are numerous organizations in Montgomery County that are supportive of a legally binding welcoming policy. In Cheltenham Township, we have at least 4 active organizations that are working on this issue. And we are not going to stop, and we'll be back every month. The last thing I want to mention is that I would encourage anybody in the audience to stand or raise their hand, or people on Zoom to raise their hand if you support a strong, legally binding welcoming policy. Thank you.
Thank you all. Mr. Peterson, if you want to share that information with the board, please do so. Yeah, thank you. Please. Welcome.
Kaylee Taylor, I'm part of Ward 7. Shout out. I just want to get a read on our community. So anyone here that identifies as white, male, and a millionaire, can you please stand up for me? Nobody. So we're not Trump's friends. And Project 2025 is coming for all of us. This is just the beginning. I understand that Trump does not know the name Cheltenham, but his minions do. They're watching us. If they didn't care about Cheltenham, why are our ballot boxes being threatened every election? He didn't care about our area. Why did he send his followers here to the convention center in 2020? He's watching us. He's a bully. He's a coward. He's waiting for us to blink. And we need to send a message to him. Don't sing it, bring it. We're not playing this game. And I appreciate the comments that the commissioners have made, that the police, the chief of police have made. Those things are wonderful to know that in spirit, you guys are with us. But some of you are going to be changing power and changing hands before the 4 years are done. And we need to know that when the hands change, because you guys are still going to be one of us, that we're still protected. And so we really do need this policy to be in place. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hi, commissioners. My name is Steph Kranak. My pronouns are they and them, and I live over on Oak Lane Road and Melrose Park. I'm here to echo the comments about the welcoming policy, but more than that, I really am just so proud of our community tonight. Everyone's showing out. And also, again, hearing all of the day-to-day things that you all are keeping running, it's got to feel frustrating having these meetings happen for so long and maybe having a few attendees. And then we all show out and we all are up in arms about libraries and ice and pickleball. So I want to call you in and remind you that when we're talking about protecting members of our community, we mean you all as well. If you stand up for these things, like Commissioner Rappaport drew a firm line in the sand, and that was encouraging to us. Any of you who draws that line, we've got your back. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, yeah. My name is John McGoran. I live in Elkins Park. I've been in Cheltenham for about 22 years. And I wanted to thank you for the assurances that there's been no decisions made in cutting library funding. And I'm married to a librarian, but I'm a huge supporter. I think it's incredibly important. And I just, the two of the main topics that we've been talking about is the ICE stuff and the library stuff. And I think there's a real through line between those two that I just wanted to point out that, the ICE efforts are so threatening to some of the most vulnerable people among us. And those are the people, I get out books and I get out DVDs and I do appreciate the services of the library and I get a lot of benefit from them. But these people who are the most vulnerable among us are the ones who are really most dependent on the services that the library provides. And I see it again and again and again, people coming, filling out job applications and trying to get their lives back on track, or trying to, immigrants coming in with language barriers and depending on the library and the librarians and the staff there to kind of help them kind of become more productive parts of the township. And I just wanted to kind of make that point.
Thank you very much. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing us a chance to speak. My name's Alfred Gary, Brookside Road, Elkins Park. Came here to talk about the library. Given what you said, I understand that nothing's been finalized, but just the idea of something happening to the library motivated me to come out here tonight. And where I picked my house, which I share with my lovely wife and 3 young children, was because it was so close to a very awesome library. It's a public good. We are the public. We want it. And I will say the unpopular thing, raise my taxes. I don't mind donating to the library out of my pocket. I donate to WHYY because I think that's important. And my extra donation probably won't make the difference, but I'll speak for everyone else until they come out and speak for themselves. $2 more out of my pocket or $5 more out of my pocket with everybody else, library should be funded. It's a public good. It allows a safe space. It's one of the few, or if not one of the only places where you can go with no expectations of spending money. And that's even before they got rid of the book fees for late fees or whatever. We want our community to be strong. You get stronger by learning, and you learn well at a library. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay. Hello. You can move that down if you want.
Thanks. My name's Kristen. I live in Elkins Park. My husband's Alex. We bought a house because we love this community. We think it's so great. And we're obviously here to support the library. I just wanted to, keep drawing a line that everybody is drawing. It was mentioned that the library can secure funding in lots of different ways, and that the school district was a way that could happen. Just like our immigrant communities need support, our libraries need support, our school districts need money. I'll say the unpopular thing too, right? Like, my taxes can go up so that they don't have to get money from the school districts, because I care about the schools that our students go to. I don't have kids. I don't know if we're going to have kids, right? But I want to live in a community where our school system is supported and our library is supported and our immigrant communities are supported, because that makes a strong community, whether, you check stuff out from the library or not. So yeah, raising my taxes too.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. We're going to put you on payroll to make that announcement throughout the township. Thank you.
My name is Irv Greenberg. I
Hi,
live
sir.
in Wyncote. I've been in the township since 1980. I want to talk about a couple of things. I came to talk about the library, which I will, but I just wanted to mention something else afterwards. I'm probably the oldest person in this room, I would suspect. That doesn't mean I'm wiser than anybody else here, but I've spent more years in libraries than anybody else here. Okay, from the time when I was a kid, I go down to Logan Square branch in Philly and go through the card catalog system using a Dewey Decimal System until now. Go to Elkins Park, I go to Glenside. It's just amazing what's going on. The biggest thing for me is when I go in the parking lot at Elkins Park Library, come in and out, there's little kids coming in and out. Their faces are full of joy. They're happy. The library is a happy place. And the kids are the future. And the short change in any way that what would be for them is really destroying our future, okay? If I had won the Powerball a couple weeks ago, I'd devote millions to the library. But since I didn't, I leave it up to you to find a way to get the budget resolved. The other thing I wanted to mention was kind of piggybacking on some things that have been said about, ICE or things that are going on in this country. I grew up in Strawberry Mansion in a row house, okay? The parents of some of the kids that I played with came from Europe. When I moved into my apartment in Elkins Park, my next door neighbor came from the camps, okay? It may be melodramatic, but the people in 1935 and 36 in Europe didn't think it could happen. And it can happen. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Ma'am, I'll give you your 3 minutes. So I just want to remind folks that we hear the community. I think you've heard that we, at least for the policy statements, We're working on that, on the library. We're hearing you. We have budget meetings. So if you have something new to add, please do that. But try not to repeat what we've heard if you don't mind. So ma'am, with that, you have your 3 minutes.
Okay, maybe it's somewhat, we've said a little about, thank you, Ann, you made my day. I moved here from Lillywhite, Cape May about a year ago. What I love about East Cheltenham is its cultural diversity. I think this neighborhood is great. It really is. My experience of being in the midst of Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, gay, straight people all love each other. We care about each other. And that's, I think, why we so strongly want to see something coming out in public. It's so distressing for our children to be so terrified that their friends will be taken away, that their friends' parents will be taken away. Our experiences of ICE and the National Guard going to cities, entering American cities is terrifying. It evokes images of Nazi Germany. Please let our neighbors and friends know that we have their six. Our neighborhoods in our country, our other neighborhoods in our county have stood up to this. They've had the courage to voice their truths. Why not Cheltenham?
Okay. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Alicia Kinchlow. I am a resident of Elkins Park, Cook Road, and I've lived in the township for about 14 years now. I've been raising my 3 sons here through the public school system, and I love it. I am also a proud board member of the library. I'm a little dismayed to hear that what we started as advocacy and empowerment and education to our constituents about the potential budget cuts has been seen as weaponizing or a campaign of rumors. What we actually wanted to do was to make sure that as we're having these conversations about scenario planning and budgets, which I firmly understand and we absolutely get, and I'm sure you do too as a former board member, is that it also includes feedback from everyone here. I've been very proud to hear how the library has been a benefit to people in our community, how it bridges the gap. And I think it's important as you go into those budget decisions that you are considering those things and you're hearing that it's important. Far too often, and I'm sure you know, as you're hearing comments, that people are hearing about things after they've been decided because they don't come to the meetings until it's too late. Well, we're here now, we're here early, and we want to make sure you understand how important it is to us. And yes, we understand that there are different ways of funding, but we want to make sure that the township understands its responsibility here and what we hope to achieve. So I want to know and want to make sure that what you've heard tonight and through our advocates and through our advocacy is that we are absolutely willing to work with the Commissioners Board, that we are willing to do what we need to do to make sure that the library is sustainable, that it'll be here for the next 3, 4, 5 years. And as we continue to go through the climate that we're going through, it's going to be a cornerstone of this community where people can get information, get help, and make sure that our community continues to thrive. So I want to thank you all for your time, your engagement, and your help and dedication to our library system.
Yes, thank you. Ms. Kinchlow, thank you for your comments. Please know that the township wants to continue the partnership. We're ready to be responsible for what the township needs to be responsible for. We think there's shared responsibility, right? But I appreciate you being here tonight and look forward to continuing to work with the library system to accomplish goals that we both could be proud of. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kelly. I live near Cheltenham Elementary. All right. And I wanted to talk about something adjacent to the library while we're all thinking about the library tonight. Everyone said their outpouring of support already. But something I was thinking about lately was traffic safety near the library. So there is that crosswalk across Church Road right in front of the library. And there I have seen an older gentleman get in confrontations with drivers who were speeding past him. He was carrying 2 grocery bags. He had a head full of white hair, and the drivers were like honking at him. I think something happened before I saw it, but anyway, he was frustrated at them and they were honking at him. I also bike from my place to the library, which I love. All the hills are so challenging and so fun. Type 2 fun, fun in the hard way. But yeah, often, so I will cross that crosswalk very often, and there used to be that sign that would say stop for pedestrians. And even so, when I was there, I was right in the middle of the crosswalk. A car was coming, saw it from far away, it saw me, and the driver did not stop for me, was going at like 40 miles per hour, was like right in front of the front tire of my bike I was walking. So, knowing we're all here, we all love the library, we're all supporting the library. I also want to advocate for the spaces around the library to be safe and welcoming as well. So, I don't know much about how all this stuff works, but something I think might be an easy improvement would be a raised crosswalk. So at the very least, the drivers would have to slow down before getting to that crosswalk, making it safer for those smiling children we were talking about, for all, everyone here who enjoys and loves the library.
Thank you very much for your comments. Commissioner Brockington.
Yeah, we'll look into that. I'll talk to you after the meeting too. Okay, we'll talk about that particular intersection. Okay, but are you going to leave?
I have to go. I actually left, and then I thought about.
Well, if you're going to leave, we're going to leave. No, but we'll look into that. Okay.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if you do want to continue the discussion, Commissioner Brockington's email is on the website. You could reach out to him, and because Commissioner Brockington, you may have heard earlier, is the chair of the Traffic Calming Committee as well. So that's probably a good connection. Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Jenny Heitler-Clevens, and I live on Barkley Road, and I've been a resident of Cheltenham since 2001. My kids have gone all the way through the Cheltenham schools. And I really appreciate what Ann Rappaport said today in terms of the welcoming statement. And I was talking with an immigration lawyer today, and she told me some things that I did not know, and I wanted to share them with you. And it's a change in policy recently, where now somebody who is arrested by ICE, they can have a bond, but it's like at least $15,000, and they must pay the entire thing. And now they have said, in fact, you can have a bond, but we're not going to let you out while you're waiting for your court date. So now people, once they get arrested by ICE, they're going to be stuck in confinement for that whole time. And it could be years, or they could get the opportunity to go back to their home country, so to speak. So I think it's vitally important that we protect people before they get arrested by ICE, because it's gotten even harder for them to have their day in court. So that's just something to think about. And again, I'm also a strong supporter of libraries and have performed in all libraries in the township, as well as many libraries around the country. So yay, libraries.
Thank you. Ms. Meares.
Yeah, Maris. Hi, how are you? Good evening, everyone. Happy Constitution Day, right? Happy Constitution Day. Everybody, yeah, let's clap it up for the Constitution. Since, the federal government is not very serious about enforcing the Constitution. Luckily, built into the Constitution is the concept of federalism, that not only do we have separate branches of government, but there are different levels of government. So even the federal government is not abiding by the Constitution. We have a state government, we have a local government in order to come through and help out. Unfortunately, 62 people have been taken out of Montgomery County. Likely there are more than that. Those are just the ones that we know about. So something is going very wrong, not just in the 3 branches of government, but also at the 3 levels of government. And I want to just remind, you guys and everybody here of why we are here. We are here because the local government controls the local police. That you have the power, you have the responsibility, and you have the oversight. And so in this federal system, it's up to you, right? I go to my county commissioners, they send me to you. I go to Trump, he would send me to you, right? Because if I have a question of, do Cheltenham police officers know what to do when ICE shows up? That is your responsibility. Do the Cheltenham police officers know what to do when ICE shows up? What happens if they don't follow that? We don't know. I asked you last month when only 50 people were taken, what the policy was. I asked you the month before that, what you're doing, what your policy was. I asked you in January if we could start having this conversation. I wish we weren't still having this conversation. You have all these experts in the room that are here telling you, we've talked to immigration lawyers, we've talked to organizations, this is what we're presenting, you're seeing people around, I understand that you want to be careful, I agree. Let's get moving. Let's put this on the agenda, which is what I asked for last month. So we have more questions. What is your policy as a township? How do we handle ICE? How are you being proactive to support our neighbors? When will this be on the agenda? How do you know what the police are doing? This month, 62 people have been abducted from Montgomery County. How many bodies is it going to take before you do something about this? I will see you next month. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Maris.
Hi,
Sir.
good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Randy Libros. I live over on Brookfield Road. I actually grew up in Cheltenham in Wyncote. After graduating from Cheltenham High in 1971, I started college. I left Philadelphia. I left Cheltenham and thought, well, I'm not ever going back to Cheltenham. I didn't really appreciate being like this, at that point, very white enclave. I mean, we didn't even get off for Jewish holidays when I was in elementary school. But later, we came back to Cheltenham. We chose to come back because we saw that the township had really changed, had become much more diverse. And so we've been here for 30 years. Our kids went through the Cheltenham system. We've been really, very happy being in Cheltenham, in our neighborhood. If anything, the diversity in our neighborhood has really increased significantly. It's wonderful. I used to teach. I retired from Community College of Philadelphia a few years ago. And one of the great joys of being there was the incredible diversity. I mean, I would walk down the halls and hear 3 different languages being spoken. And, it's not quite like that in Cheltenham, but it's getting, we have like a very diverse community. And it's something that I really value a lot. And so rather than talk to you about policy stuff, I want you to understand how heartfelt this is for myself and for many of us here who are here today, in terms of really making sure that there is a clear policy that protects our immigrant neighbors and friends. But I think it goes beyond, and Commissioner Rappaport, I mean, I think you really, addressed a lot of there's so many challenges that we're facing. We are facing rising authoritarianism. We are facing risks that go beyond. Right now, it's immigrants who are being targeted. I don't want us to, 6 months, a year, 2 years from now, be saying things like, well, when they went after the immigrants, I didn't do anything because I wasn't an immigrant. And I think you all know the rest of the poem. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so it looks like we got everybody, oh, not quite.
I thought there were more people in line here.
You're, just make sure you're speaking in the mic. It's hard to hear you.
Well, I can't, that was my husband, so I really can't speak any better than that. But I do also want to thank Ann Rappaport. It was very heartwarming, and those are so many issues that we need, are going to be needing and continue to need to deal with. And I really appreciate you bringing all those things up. Well, first of all, I'm part of a group here in East Cheltenham called East Cheltenham Cares. And even though I didn't come specifically for the library, I'm here also to support the library. They've been wonderful for our group. They provided a community space for us to have a Know Your Rights workshop a few months ago for immigrant rights. And we had a young voices group that we were concerned about the kids and the trauma of kids in our community with immigration and potential detentions and deportations. So we had a creative group for children at the library, and they've been wonderful. Plus, my 3-year-old grandson loves the library. So I really wanted to always be here for us. I'm here primarily now to talk about, just to read something from a member of our group. Her name is Karenina Wolf, and she's an immigration lawyer who is out on maternity leave with a 6-week-old baby. So she asked me to read this for her. Commissioners, thank you for taking the steps to adopt a welcoming policy for our community. As you know and have seen, ICE and the fear of its presence is wreaking havoc on local communities. As an immigration lawyer, I'm acutely aware of this. Just this week, I had a client get stopped and detained by ICE. He has an asylum application pending with immigration, however, but given the recent changes in immigration law that prevents immigration judges from releasing him on bond, he may not have the chance to see his application through. He was wanted for dead in his home country of Honduras. Now he could be forced to return there, leaving his wife and U.S. citizen son alone and defenseless. Families are being ripped apart, and we need to do something about it. The immigrant community of Cheltenham is counting on you to stand for them. If you don't, who will? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Please, welcome.
Hi, I'm June Siegel. I also was born and raised in Wyncote and have been around here for a long time. I want to bring up an article that was on the front page of the Sunday Inquirer. I don't know if people saw it. It was talking about more Pennsylvania police agencies team up with ICE. It's an initiative from ICE called 287G, where state and municipal police departments are signing up with ICE to help enforce immigration laws. They assist in identifying, arresting, and deporting immigrants. In September, police agencies in 41 states signed 1,000 agreements. And now they're even, ICE is offering money to these police departments to, I guess, get them to sign on. I know that's not anything that's going to happen here. I just want to point out that's what we're up against. That's what's happening more and more in this state and around this country. So just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Siegel. And just to make sure the record is clear, you said it at the end, but the Cheltenham Township does not have a 287G agreement with any federal agency, and there's no intention to enter into one. So thank you. Okay, so we're gonna now close public comment here in the hall. We're gonna move over to Zoom. And I'm just gonna go in no particular order except what's on my screen. The first person is Rosalind Holtzman.
Hello, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm Rosalind Holtzman. I've lived in Elkins Park for over 35 years. And like so many others who have spoken tonight, I want to see our township enact this welcoming policy. I'd like to bring up a few things that haven't been mentioned yet to help people understand.
Thank you.
The policy aligns with the values espoused by you, our township commissioners, safeguarding the fundamental constitutionally protected rights of every person living and working in Cheltenham, including the right to due process, delineating the explicit role of our local police and law enforcement. This administration's brutal immigration policies are defying and eroding those rights. Fundamental rights cannot be conditional. If they don't apply to all, they are guaranteed for none. I want to reiterate the purpose of the welcoming policy to align with constitutional protections, to promote community trust, and to use township resources appropriately and effectively to address local priorities. Abington Township is one that has a written policy that addresses some basic concerns. For example, in their policy, they say, "We are committed to ensuring the safety and well-being of everyone in our community, regardless of immigration status. We enforce local and state laws that safeguard the public's health, safety, and welfare. Immigration enforcement is a federal responsibility. We have not and will not enter into ICE's 287G program, which empowers local law enforcement to enforce federal immigration law." Even so, we must go further, as spelled out in the welcoming policy. Enacting this policy is imperative. The terrible and horrible truth is that we are living under a growing fascist regime, and we need to take an unequivocal stand. We need to actively protect fundamental rights and freedoms, even under duress, lest we become complicit. Silence will not protect us, nor will half measures. ICE now has a $75 billion allocation to build concentration camps, to fill detention centers, and to hire 10,000 agents. This administration will not stop with illegals. We must meet this moment while we still can. The risk only increases from here. And as someone mentioned, Martin Niemöller spoke ruefully about this in the poem that ends, "Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me." Let us gather our moral courage and take a stand, and let us be on the right side of history. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Holtzman. Next up is Brian Leslie.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Brian Leslie. I've lived in Elkins Park for the last 9 years. I don't have much to add that hasn't already been said, but I do want to put my voice in support of the welcoming policy. One of the things my family and I have most valued about this community is its diversity and its welcoming nature. I stand strongly against the climate of intolerance that's been rising in this nation, and I hope that we as citizens and members of this community can do our part to support those amongst us who are most vulnerable. So to that end, I urge the township to enact the strong, legally binding welcoming policy, and my support to everything else that's been said tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for those words. Next is Miriam Decker.
Hi, I'm Miriam. Thank you so much for all the amazing work you're doing to benefit our township. It's so wonderful to see physical improvements being made to Cheltenham. And in addition to these material agenda items, I'm going to reinforce what everyone said. I think it's imperative to make sure that the people here feel safe in the township, no matter their background. I personally have lived here for 19 of my 21 years of life. And I feel so lucky to live in a place that has always worked to make me feel safe, whether through new sidewalks or through security at my school. And I feel it is your job as the Board of Commissioners to reinforce that in substantive public statement and policy that protects all people in the community from ICE and anyone who seeks to remove anyone from any resident of Cheltenham on the basis of their immigration status without due process and the promise of ethical treatment. And I've just seen so much horror around the country surrounding ICE raids, and it is crucial that we act before we wake up to footage like that in our beloved community. So I appreciate what Anne said. And I really hope to see this welcoming policy be enacted. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just looking to see if there are other hands on Zoom. I see clapping hands, so there's that. All right. I see no additional hands, so we're gonna close citizens forum. And it is 9:26 PM. I will move for adjournment. All those in favor on the board, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.